All right. Well, good morning, everyone. We've got Taylah here, Mrs. Wright, joining us for the South Report. This is our first episode of our artist series, okay? So we thought, given it's musical time, which we're going to talk about a lot,
Yeah.
but the point of this, I guess, the South Report, it was actually the drama boys that conceived this idea, and it was to try to get to know people in our community. And you're one of those names that continually come up. Everyone wants to know a bit about you. So the beauty of a podcast is you can go anywhere. So the best place to go is right back to the very start. So give us your first memory or a memory, one of your most vivid early memories in life.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's an absolute honour to be the first person of the artist series.
Very excited about that.
When there are some incredible artists that have roamed the floors of this amazing space. So thank you. My earliest memory, just in general, of school, honestly, it has to be, and this is very ironic, but in the theatre. But not this theatre, unfortunately.
Yes.
A much, less beautiful theatre than this theatre with many less seats. Was actually my Year 6 musical.
Where did you go to school? Where are we talking? Somerset College. Okay,
Yeah.
so Year 6 in the theatre.
Yes.
You're part of the play, or are you
It was
in
my
the
first ever musical.
Let's talk about that. What was it?
It was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
And
I
your
played
role?
Susan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Year 6, little me. And I never even thought that I would step foot on the stage. One of my friends actually dared me to audition because she overheard me singing a bit of a fun Twinkle Twinkle moment at home. When she was over one day and she goes, "You should just audition for the musical." And I go, "Oh, are you kidding me?" I went and auditioned and I got the role of Susan. I went, "Oh God, I've got to do this now." And then I went and I did it, and I made the most beautiful connections. My best friend still today. Shout out to Jess. She's still my beautiful best friend, and we have amazing.
So she was in the play?
Yeah.
What was her role?
Musical. She was just in the chorus.
Oh, just in the chorus. The chorus is a very important part, not as important as Susie, but yes.
Absolutely not. She was very important. She was a very important tree.
So. Oh, lovely. Shout out to Susie, the best friend. So that's really exciting. So tell me about how many performances were there for your first go ever?
I think there was only 2
because
it was the Somerset Junior School musical. Yeah, which even that in itself, now I'm realising, obviously putting on a senior school musical.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Senior and a junior school musical in itself. Like, that was phenomenal that they did that. But
that's very exciting. And the audience, what are we talking? Hundreds?
Back then they've had a refurb, not nearly as nice as now.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to show the audience in a moment. I'm actually going to go to the phone and spin this around. So tell us about Somerset first. How many people for your first play ever?
I reckon over the nights of 2 nights, maybe around 150.
Oh,
maybe,
okay.
maybe
All right.
most,
that's a warm-up. Well, we'll just show the audience, because there are people listening to this, and I'm sorry if you're just listening to the audio, but I'm going to spin this around and we're going to have a quick look at it may let us do it while we're live. Probably not, but I was just going to show everyone that, so we can spin it around. Let's do it.
That's the better view.
Okay, so we're just going to turn around here. I couldn't spin it around. So here we are. This is our theatre. So we're not 150 in grade 6. We're now 1,000 plus in our beautiful auditorium. So I better line this back up for the people who are actually watching online. Okay, so that's your first taste of drama. So at that stage, it's a bit of a lottery. You just throw your hand in, you have a go, you get a role. Are you hooked?
Oh, 100% hooked. That, and I think all the beautiful kids that we have in this year's musical would agree that it just takes over you. There's something. It's like an adrenaline, you become a bit of an adrenaline junkie. Really, you get on stage and it's just something fills your soul, and you just find it. And I think the connection that you have with the audience and honestly with the community that you create within the performative space is just, there's nothing like it. It's part like being part of the rugby team, and I haven't played rugby or anything like that, but the same thing, you know, you just, the energy and the thing that you create together and the connection that you have with the audience and that you build with the audience. There really is just, there's no other magic like it.
There isn't.
It's addictive.
Exactly. And
you don't want to stop.
Exactly. We'll get to our musical, TSS musical, and it's every other year, but my favourite night of that musical year is the last night. And you talk about finding energy. I don't know how you do it on stage, but everyone just finds a way, plays their role. But there is nothing like the relationships built in a play. It's incredible.
It really is.
And you got that in grade 6?
Yeah, yeah.
Got you for life.
Yeah. Oh God.
Wow.
I do wonder if I never did do that, if I'd never had my friend say, just go for it,
Go and
see
have
how
a
you
go.
I just think, my God, well, I've made it my whole entire life.
You have,
really.
and we'll talk a bit about that actually. So you have a go and probably knock your friend out of that role that she was. And she goes to just the chorus, and you end up a career in drama. So before,
very, very good, amazing performer and quite successful actually as well. So I have to, sorry, Jeff.
That's all right. She might. So shout out to Jess. She'll have a listen to this hopefully. So before we get too far ahead, we'll go back to, you are one of the most positive people I know. There's no bad days. That smile radiates around our school. Where's that come from?
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you. I actually don't. I think it's just who I am. I think there's a lot of people even back at school would go kind of like, what's with her? Like she's just always kind of smiling.
Yeah.
I think a lot of my beautiful students and people that are prominent within the performing arts.
Yeah.
I used to having people go, oh, they're a bit much, you know. Why are they so happy all the time?
Energy, spirited.
Yeah, very spirited, very, you know. And so I think when I was at school, I was always actually quite aware of that I didn't want to ever be too much. And so I always kind of brought it back. But I think that's what I loved so much about finding my space within the performing arts, was finding people that were the same as me and that loved that and celebrated that. And that's why I love then. I think that's what we're so lucky with the boys, especially. They're so spirited. They give you everything, and there's not a single day where they don't have that energy or they're trying to bring that back. And that's inspiring to me. And so I think the boys, when I'm at school, honestly, they do. Like even on my bad days, I'm here probably for 15 minutes max, and I'm back to. I can't help it. They just. Also, I think I'm just very, very, very happy and very lucky to be here. So there's no reason to not be, really.
Well, that is true. But you are a very positive influence on our school, and so spirited and energy works beautifully on stage. Works unbelievably on the field, netball court, tennis court, rugby field. Not necessarily always in the classroom. So what's that year 6? The report for your musical sounds like an A+ diligence one. What's Taylah, the student in grade 6, sitting behind the desk?
If I'm honest, and I thought about this actually before I came because I knew this question might come up, and I thought, oh God, how honest am I going to be? Am I going to completely out myself?
Honesty is the best policy. Honesty is the best policy.
You're going to go, oh, we got this teacher. And no, when I was in junior school, being completely honest, I wasn't that bright. Like I was actually young. I was in a lot of the developing or the support classes and those types of things. And so in my mind, I definitely had an idea that I wasn't the smartest, and I had to work really hard to get to where I needed to be. Year 6, I was definitely still there because I moved from Melbourne, came to the Gold Coast, went to Somerset College, and I wanted to try and find friends, and I was very much kind of focusing on that. And still honestly really kind of struggling academically. And it wasn't until I would say around year 9 that I got my first ever academic award. And my parents, I'll never forget, they go, why are we coming to this assembly? This is super strange. And I was like, I don't know. And I kind of saw them and I was like, why are they here? This is odd. And I'm thinking, oh God, like have I done something? Of course. You know, like what's going on here? And I got an academic award. It was called a cum laude. Yeah. And I thought there was never, ever going to be a day where that day would come. Awesome. But I think, Is
that an all-round award or was that for a particular subject? You're starting to choose electives and things for year 9. Have you found drama at that point?
Yes. And I think that is why. I think I started to find my road and my people. And I think just naturally finding those things it helps. It helped me kind of just really lock in, if you like, academically with all things. So that was exciting. But no, before then, I really had just pinned myself as the crazy theatre kid, really, the crazy drama girl.
Love it.
And that was,
So the crazy drama girl starts to find her feet about year 9. So you mentioned a couple of things there, growing up in Melbourne. I never knew that.
Yes.
So born in Melbourne.
I was.
So you're probably an AFL girl. You got a team?
I sure do. St Kilda.
St Kilda. Do not say that. Shout out Helen McCleary, the biggest Carlton fan on the planet. So don't mention Saints, but her husband Paul's a Saints supporter. So he's probably done a lot of work for you, loading, moving things on and off stage for you over the last few weeks. So Saints supporter. You grew up in Melbourne, and that's crazy. So primary school, pretty much Melbourne. When do you move up?
So because my dad is a pilot, we did a lot of moving around.
Mum and Dad's
Melbourne.
names?
Dad Nick, Mum Juliet.
Shout out Nick and Juliet, former parents of TSS. So
they love this place. They all do. But they we moved a bit because of Dad's profession. But we settled back on the Gold Coast in year 6. But born in Melbourne, spent a lot of my junior school years in Melbourne.
I never knew that. So Nash would have moved up here at what age would he have been?
He was little. He's 4 years younger than me. So when I was in year 6, he would have been year 2.
Yeah.
So year 2. So most of his schooling year remembers to be on the Gold Coast.
So no thoughts of, obviously your brother's a pilot, no thoughts of aviation for you. It was destined for the stage.
Honestly, I am so terrible at maths. Like even to become a teacher, I got worried about doing land type for maths. I studied and studied and studied, but I ended up doing okay. But I think that was the one thing in my mind. I went, you know what? I don't think I can do it with the maths. But also the thing that I love most is communicating with others, and whether that's on a stage or whether that's person to person. I knew that I wanted to be around people and working with people. And I know my parents and my brother have amazing careers within aviation, and the travel's amazing. But operating machinery as my job, I realized that wasn't the thing. No. As much as I definitely had the thoughts, I went, oh God, it'd be awesome, the travel. I thought about a flight attendant for a moment there, but I think I decided that I wanted to go down a different road.
Well, I say this to all due respect to anyone who's a flight attendant listening, but you would be so wasted being a flight attendant. Your creativity, your positivity, the energy you give our boys. So thankfully you find your feet, you start to head down a kind of drama route, I guess. So year 6, you've talked about your first musical. How many musicals did you, quick message there. What a great message for the kids.
Yeah.
Once you find your thing, it's amazing. Once you can immerse yourself in something you love, it's almost like you just fly. Your wings grow and you fly. So you don't always find it early on. And it sounds like it took you a little while, but once you found it, that was your thing, and nothing then gets in the road. And by having that big picture, it's so much easier to get through the mundane days, the exam blocks and all those things, because you do know where you're going. And that chops and changes, but well done for finding it so early. How many musicals at Somerset from year 6 to year 12? Do you find yourself doing a couple?
Every single year.
No way.
Yeah.
Every year.
Every year. Yeah.
So year 7's high school by that stage?
Yes.
Yeah. So you go into high school and you do it every single year.
Without fail.
Wow. Yeah. So talk me through some of the different roles you played.
Goodness.
Holy.
I might get some of the years wrong here, so please forgive me if anyone from Somerset's listening and going, no, that wasn't right. We did Eurobeat, which was like a take on Eurovision, which is a really interesting one. I got to be one of the Hungarian ones. Of course you did.
Singing which songs?
Oh God, I
can't remember. All right.
Because it was in full Hungarian. Okay. So
I think she does remember. She just knows I'm about to ask her to sing it. So yes, conveniently forgotten. Convenient amnesia, we'll refer to that as.
My senior days have been hung. Okay. That's okay, but we've got help the children. But no, Hungarian, I think, that was year 8. Yeah. And so I was really excited because I got, a role within that. I think it was me and 2 other girls that were in year 11 at the time. So I felt very cool.
Wow, that is cool. So you're only grade 7 or 8 at this stage? Grade 8?
I'm sorry, that one was grade 8.
But you're getting a senior role. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was very excited about that one, actually.
Wow, so your confidence is growing. Sounds like it's growing. Mm-hmm. And then do you get a lead role in any musical?
Yes. So what was the last one that we did? I should remember this. We did in year 11. Oh God, I'm trying to remember all of them now.
That's all right. So are you a lead in grade 11?
Yes.
One of the leads, I should say. Yeah.
I just can't believe it's completely crossed my knock.
You've got a bit going on at the moment. It's any wonder. All that's on your mind.
I said I apologise for my brain falling out onto the floor somewhere in the annex. I
probably should have said that at the very start. We are literally 24 hours from go time. So all that's in Taylor's mind right now. And so for her to even find the time for us is incredible. I really apologise. Don't be silly.
all of the, oh God, yeah, we did Hairspray.
Yeah.
And we did, God, I'm really just trying to remember all of them.
You get some pretty much lead roles. So you're gravitating towards the lead roles. How's that going, balancing school, social life, finding your feet as a teenager, and a musical every single year? You just found a way.
I found a way, yeah, as well. I just, even like the plays, like we did plays every year, which was awesome. I just, any kind of opportunity to be in the performing arts. Funnily enough, like we talked about, whenever I was in a play or I was in the musical, I was doing something within that realm. My academics were, they were doing better.
Wow. Just find the time to do it because you're busy.
I guess that is what they say, isn't it?
It
Find
is.
the busy person.
That's right. They'll get the
job
done.
and they get it done.
Isn't
I
that
definitely
amazing?
thrive much more on.
Yeah. So you're choosing drama. You're choosing the arts at that stage. Any music in there?
A little bit, actually, but not much. I found that I tried to do a few things. Believe it or not, I did rowing in year 9 as well, but I wasn't very good.
Show us those hands. You got rowers' hands. One season.
Really.
Yeah. No, we won't. We'll call her apprentice rower.
But no, I think the rowing coach at the time was like, look, you're performing that.
Stick to the stage. Oh, that's a bit unfair.
Stick to that.
Oh, no.
Same with my math teacher. Actually, my dad tells this very funny story at every single embarrassing Christmas, where we had a parent-teacher interview, and my lovely math teacher at the time goes, "Oh God, she's so great! You know, I went to the musical and I saw this play. She's amazing." And Dad goes, "Yeah. So how's her math going?" Oh, terrible.
Stick to the stage.
She's person,
Straight to the right. Oh, that's hilarious. And Dad being a pilot's probably very maths logical without generalising too much. So that'd be his domain. Your domain's creative art. So you're probably teaching him as much as he's teaching you at that stage. So you mentioned your maths teacher who are, you don't need to name names here, but some influential adults in your life. Obviously, your mum and dad have been incredibly supportive at Somerset. Let's not give Somerset too much of a rap, by the way, but some important adults in your life at that stage, whether that be your maths teacher, one of your sport teachers, your rowing coach, or someone else, a couple of influential adults. And what did you learn from them?
This one's a really easy one. Honestly, the first one, and he would hopefully know who he is, but Signor Ham. He was actually my Italian teacher.
I was going to say, Signor Ham, that sounds very Italian.
Signor Ham, he was the most incredible teacher. And to this day, I think that is why when I decided to pivot into teaching, he's one of the biggest reasons to why I decided to do that. Everyone chose Italian because of him. So I actually did IB Italian in year 11 and 12. Honestly, I picked it at the beginning because he was just such a beautiful teacher. But also I enjoyed languages and it felt creative. And awesome. For a lot of the speaking assessments, that was easy for me because I could, learn what I wanted to say. But he just had this way of getting to know every single child within his class and know how best to help them and get them to achieve. Amazing. And for me, he knew that I was into drama, and therefore he goes, if it's easier for you, let's figure out what we need to learn. Because you're good at learning lines, you've got that down. Like, how can we? So he would find everybody and how they worked, and then be able to invest that time into going, okay, let's figure out the ones that found a little bit harder and it wasn't as natural, to figure out how they could achieve the best. And I did. I did so well in Italian, and it was International Baccalaureate Italian. Like, I thought, oh God, this is not going to go well. But I was and honestly I thank him. But he was at every single one of my performances as well. Like, he wasn't, super into, I guess, into the stage himself, but he loved coming to support everything.
To support the students.
That meant so much to me.
How good is that? Well, buongiorno to your old teacher. I hope he's listening. Shout out. That's awesome. Any others at school?
Yes, I had one. Well, Mrs. Solahan was my math teacher, and he was lovely. Same thing, just very supportive, which was lovely, even though he knew that I was just not there with maths. A bunch of my drama teachers were amazing. Miss Flynn, she is still there at Somerset. She was beautiful. Miss Fisher, I know she's moved to Tasmania now. She actually taught Margot Robbie as well when she was at school. Right. So that was her little claim to fame. I tell the boys, I'm waiting for my claim to fame. I'm waiting for one of them to, big time.
Little shout out.
Shout out when you're on the Oscar.
Margot Robbie's name might come up a bit later in this podcast. We're going to play a little game in a while. So That's kind of led it. Thank you to all those staff who played a big role in your life. I hope we haven't left anyone off the list, but I jumped in there because you mentioned Margot Robbie. Who did you want to be? Everyone wants to be someone at that age. You can't sit, you can't be it. Who's Miss Wright? Who's Taylah Wright want to be at that age?
Look, Meryl Streep is one of my favorite. Obviously, she's in a very different generation, but watching her performance in almost everything that I've seen, even her early stuff, is just, she's so completely invested and found every single bit of truth within those characters. And you can see it every time you see her face on stage, or whether it's because she was in a few Brechtian plays, which I've watched as well. Sorry, super drama nerd there. But she's, it's seeing someone find every single intricate moment or thought within the performance, and every single time without fail. So seeing her, obviously older, but someone I looked up to so much. However, a few actors, Anne Hathaway was one as well when I was younger. Devil Wears Prada was a thing, and she was also just such a beautiful actress at the time. Oh God, who else? Honestly, Margot Robbie, when she did, Margot Robbie's an interesting one because I think, unfortunately, actors do well when they're typecast or they're put into roles that they fit. And I do tell some of the boys that want to go into acting and want to give it a go, that you are a brand.
Shit out Adam Sandler, like the guy. It's literally rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Absolutely.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't go too quickly.
Won't go too quickly. But there was one. Honestly, a bunch of them that went through there that they did. They found their typecast. They found their brand, and they went with it, and they've had very successful careers in that. Like one guy has the career of being the bad guy because he just loveliest guy. Oh my God! But when you look at him, you instantly go, okay, you don't look very nice. You just look like you're a bit angry, and so you just made a lot of money on that. So Margot Robbie, in that regard, has done a brilliant job in finding where she fits. However, I've been getting quite excited by seeing her kind of start to branch out and having the ability now to be in roles where she's challenged and she's not just in that, stereotypically beautiful blonde woman role. I think I was waiting for those moments to see her in those, and that's now happening. So she's definitely now on the list too.
Well, as I said, we've got a list coming up, but we'll get to that because you mentioned NIDA. So I think you're being a bit humble about school. You obviously managed somehow to balance all the things that a teenage life has, and doing really well in the musicals. You do well enough at school. And when I say well enough, you get into NIDA. Like we're talking, when you talk about percentages of people that get into medicine and veterinary science, the percentage for NIDA is so much lower. It's so difficult to get in there. How does that come about?
It's a very big process. It was huge.
Starting when? Year 10, year 11 or year 12?
I got into NIDA in 2017. So I actually had a year of doing full-time dance and full-time. So I auditioned, the first year I auditioned when I was 18, didn't get in. Auditioned the year after that for a bunch of other drama schools, got in that second year. So I think I was just turned 19, I think. So even then, still, like, there was a lot of people in my cohort that were much older because they do really take people that are a bit older.
They do. So that's like you've obviously they've finished school, maybe gone and done some study, but jumped into some, guessing some theatre work and maybe a couple of movies or shows, and then they go to NIDA. So you come in quite young, really, then for NIDA. It's very rare to go straight from school. With Rafi, went straight from school, but it's pretty hard to do that.
Well. Yeah. Oh God, yeah. And there's a maturity you have to display, especially to NIDA as an institution.
Definitely. So you've clearly displayed that at 19. What was the experience like? What did you learn?
Oh God, so much. I think what I learned so much about at NIDA, to be honest, is honestly mostly about myself and who I am and what I can bring. And they do. The saying is that they break you to then build you back up. And I think that is so true in the way that they help you figure out really what is the human condition, why people do what they do. It's so psychological.
Yeah, wow.
And at the time you kind of don't really understand why, but when you start to get into really the nitty gritty of acting and what it is to be a character,
they start to build you back up again.
It's finding the truth in everything and how people feel. And that seems like so simple. Like when I talk to the boys about Shakespeare, about, like Shakespeare, it's meant to be performed, they're plays, right? And we like learn them in English and whatever. But when they're performed, I think one of my boys said like, oh, it's just, it's just so simple. Like Romeo and Juliet, it's like, whatever, everyone knows it. And I go, oh, and then when we actually get into the nitty gritty of why people make these decisions and why people do what they do, we're complex. We're complex people. We all come from different places and different things and experience the world in different ways.
Yeah.
And knowing how you experience the world, but then understanding how someone else's experience is completely unique, and being able to completely find the truth in that and perform that is it's understanding so much about people and the world, and that is, I guess, why they look at the maturity, and I understand that now. But they want you to find that, and there's many different ways in which they kind of get you there. But a lot of it is just actually just getting over yourself. Like confidence is one thing where you think that, I think a lot of people kind of go, well, I can speak to people and I feel confident and I can get up on this stage and I can do this thing, and so I'd be a really good actor. And honestly, that's a great place to start. But any kind of ego, any kind of inability to look in and find vulnerability to its entirety is so hard to do. And that is really realizing it's actually not about you. It's not about you. It's about the other person that you're in the scene with, or whoever else, or other thing you're, thinking about. It actually takes a lot of selflessness and a lot of work. So I hope that encapsulates some of the stuff that we work on there, and what I did kind of get to work on, as well as many other cool things.
Well, of course, one of the leadership courses I did a big chunk on the role fear and ego play in leadership, and it sounds like in a strange kind of way at NIDA that there's a lot about what's fear, what's the role fear is playing, what's the role is ego plays. So this. Feel free to go as deep as you like with this answer.
Yeah.
But you said NIDA breaks you down, not physically, not mentally, but it does. It brings you down to a place where you're most vulnerable. You mentioned it teaches you then to learn what you bring to the stage. Can I ask what you learn about yourself in what you bring to the stage?
Thank you. Oh, gosh. I apologise if I ever do get too deep, because honestly, I get that from the boys.
Please, that's what this is about.
Man, that's pretty deep.
This is our artist series. You're going way deeper than any of the other sport guys or Johnny Wallace. We're talking history. This is great.
I can't beat the POS fishing talk.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we had to do all the blood, sweat and tears of Foss's podcast. So anyway, yes, you're at your most vulnerable. What do you learn about you, and how did that make you a better performer?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I learnt that I actually, to be honest, was too much, first of all, too nice, way too much of a people pleaser. I realised that there's actually, funnily enough, the opposite, a little bit of selfishness that you do have to have. Because I love putting people before myself, and I love, I guess, serving, and and I've always had a confidence. However, I think, and this honestly might kind of marry up with why I'm now a teacher and not actually performing, but I'm not really a dog eat dog type person. I'm not someone that will, just like step over someone to get where I need to be. Or if someone says, no, you're wrong, or no, but my first thought is, oh, no, you're probably right. So I think that I'd have confidence externally, but inside it was the security within myself and how great I can be that I lacked, to be honest. And so that is what really kind of got under a few of my tutors' skin. It was just, and I didn't really understand it at the time, because I was like, oh, but I'm not egotistical, I'm not trying to be showy or whatever. And they're going, yeah, well, please give us some of that, you know? And it was understanding how to play those characters, like playing Lady Macbeth, or that you have to find a knowing that you're brilliant, that you're talented, that you're just this amount of security within yourself. Yeah. And I'm going to be honest, Andy, that type of security I didn't fully have. People don't have ever, you know, it's the ebb and flow. But funnily enough, the most secure and most strong that I've ever felt. And I have had moments over the past year or so where I go, oh my God, like I reckon if I actually tried, like I'd be really good at acting.
Yeah,
I'd be better than I was, you know, because I found that it's actually not been, it wasn't at NIDA. It gave me the knowledge and the tools to keep growing that. But it's a journey in which, honestly, right now, maybe it's one of the reasons as to why I guess I've been given this opportunity by this beautiful school and yourself to put on this production, is that I've managed to find it maybe much quicker than I would have found it if it wasn't for going there. But yeah, I learned that I struggled with that I struggled with some self-confidence and just complete security, over-explaining, you know, I guess trying to put on a mask to be whoever people wanted me to be. And so it was just allowing all of that to go away, not caring if people thought I was too much, not caring if, you know, I looked a bit silly there. And so it was like becoming completely vulnerable to the fact that people aren't going to like me, and that I was going to maybe not be the best. And that's
be okay with that. Yeah. Well, thanks for such a honest answer, because that's the hardest thing I think in life, is people to be able to explain their vulnerabilities, and you did articulate that really well.
Thank you.
And clearly that's made you an amazing teacher, but clearly on stage as well. So therein lies this kind of, I guess, a decision you made at some point. You go to NIDA, there's probably every ambition to become an actor of some kind, whether that's on stage, it's Broadway, or is it in front of a camera. But then where does teaching enter your life at that point? The end of NIDA?
I think teaching, honestly, was always at the back of my mind as something that was always another option, because I've always just loved children so much. Maybe that comes with the serving, and it's just been a part of who I am forever, really. But I didn't know if that was something that happened that was going to come with the profession. And so, like, a lot of boys say to me in year 11 and 12, like, I actually just have no idea what I want to do. Yeah. I was the same, really. And year 11 and 12, I go, well, what's my thing? Like, it's drama, it's performing, it's what I love. I love singing, I love acting, I love dancing. I've got to kind of give this a go. But honestly, like with that confidence, self-confidence, saying, oh, well, I'm a big fish in a small pond right now. Imagine when I leave this place. Yeah. So I actually didn't initially go, like I auditioned for the schools, but I thought, if I don't get in, I'll just go and do a uni degree. So I actually got into UQ to do a double degree of journalism and arts.
Wow, learning something new. A couple of things about you.
I know.
Journalism.
Well, it's a bit everywhere. Yeah, all of the things. But no, I got in there and I actually did, I think it was something like 2 months of it. And I just, I remember one of the tutors in one of my lectures going, yeah, if you're here to do something like broadcast journalism, then I would say just like there's the door, because you're not going to get into it. It's like so hard. And I went, well, hang on, if it's that hard to get in, because I thought, oh, maybe I'll be a weather girl or something. That'll be fun. And that's what journalism is.
Yeah, exactly. That's what journalism is. Yeah.
And I thought, well, hang on, if it's that small of a chance to get in to do that, and that's my backup option, why am I not just going for what I actually want to do, which is performing? So that's what I went for. And then, I went and did, dancing. Dancing was my one thing, which I really had to kind of improve on. Did lots of other stuff. Then I managed to kind of get in there. I've completely missed the question.
No, it was how you found education. And it's so common that people try a degree, don't like it. It's such a common story.
Yes.
Pretty expensive with the way that our HECS debts get. But you find what you don't want to do.
Yes.
You found clearly what you don't want to do. Then does education that's that burning candle that hasn't gone out?
Well, and then I thought, so I did journalism. Then I thought, that's absolutely not it.
Yeah.
Did my performing, and I thought, you know what? If I don't really make it, then that can always be a backup. And I always knew that a master's and that type of thing was an option. But honestly, it was COVID. I actually didn't really submit myself to the idea of fully teaching until that happened. So that was when I would come out of NIDA and I was trying to get work, and I was booking a few little things here and there, a lot of ads, which, helps the bank account be a bit healthy and keeps you out of hospitality for a little bit. So I was doing that, did a few shows here and there, and I loved it. But once again, was going for a lot of auditions and just not getting the role.
So bigger roles, as in, are they for shows in theatre, or are they more some television series? And we nearly saw you on Home and Away, or Neighbours, are you Ramsay Street?
I did audition actually for a couple of episodes for Home and Away, and just didn't get it. And that was another thing that I found really hard, was just you just got to be so good at rejection. And you just got to go, oh, well, they're lost, and you got to keep moving on, and I did find that hard. But thinking about it, I was just so young, like I would have been about 22.
I was going to say, you're 22 at this, you're just fine. Although at 22, and boys will sit and listen to this game, just sounds like a typical old bloke. But at 22, you think you know it all. You've got life sorted. Why didn't I get? And the older you get, you realise, geez, there was a lot of things. There's a lot of gaps there. So if you can go back to that age now with the things you do know, it'd make life a whole lot easier. But I guess that's life, isn't it? One of the messages I'm picking up through all of our conversation is you've never stopped learning, and how you've embraced getting better and learning, and then you fall into education, I guess, because you got over the rejection. Something didn't land for whatever reason, and I'm really stoked you're not sitting beside Elf Stewart on Home and Away, because again, it would have stopped you being involved working with children, where you're incredible. So, and we're going to get to that in a moment. So I've got one question before we play a little game, and that'll kind of we'll do this in part A and part B. So we'll play a little game, and that'll be a great segue into then talking about our musical, because you've obviously become a teacher and now running a musical, which you're probably regretting 24 hours into the production. So,
no, we're in the really beautiful moment with me where I get to just sit at the back and
the work's done.
To my beautiful team. So it's good now.
I can't wait.
But
so we'll talk about the musical in a moment. But
can't wait.
How did you learn your lines? Because it blows my mind. And I'll talk about Ben Nicol in a moment, and when we get to the musical. But how did it come easy? You talked about that Italian teacher going, well, you're learning it on stage, come and learn it you've obviously got a way. So what's your way? Because every student's different. How did you learn your lines? Because you're in a musical every single year.
That's a great question. Believe it or not, and it changed when I got to acting school. I realised I was doing it all wrong.
Oh, no.
But that's okay.
Well, clearly you weren't. You've got some pretty good roles at Somerset.
Thank you. No, I honestly, it was very rote learning. It was all the time.
Just literally.
In the car, in the shower, just saying them just over and over again.
Did you ever record them and listen back, or was it all just reading?
Times. Very much for songs, I would do that. Definitely. But honestly, not as much. If it was anything, it was just reading over and over again before bed is always great. And I always tell this to the boys when they're getting ready for their formative assessments. I go, read it before bed.
A bit more relaxed.
Go to sleep, and then you find that the next day you go, oh, like that's just coming to me. But it always just was like a repetition, really. But practicing, if you are in a scene with somebody, and once again the boys go, yes, ma'am. Always practicing, with that person, it helps so much, because it's like you're having a conversation.
You are.
At the end of the day, you're having a conversation with someone. But if it is a monologue or something like that, it is something that's just like a repetitive.
Okay, so no magic. There's no shortcuts. It was just learn.
But then I found that there's better ways when I went to acting school. So
give us one. Let's talk about that for a second. Then what's one better way? What was something you learned? And I guess this applies to maths. And Dad probably wishes you did your maths. So I guess go back to year 7 or year 8 or year 9 maths. You probably do it easy now. What was one technique that they taught you?
The repetition, I guess, is the same, but it's the way in which you repeat it is what is important. So basically when you repeat over and over again exactly the same way, you naturally then learn it in that rhythm and in that, I guess, circumference,
that cadence,
in that same rhythm and in the same inflections and everything like that. So that's how people usually do learn it.
Okay.
But then with NIDA, for example, in the auditions, the first thing they do, you do your monologue, and they go, okay, so I might be doing like a Lady Macbeth monologue, right? Yeah. And then they go, okay, you're going to now say that like you're at a nightclub.
Oh, no way.
To your best
talking
friend.
over music or something.
Yeah, you're talking to your best friend and you're trying to tell her that you actually really love that guy, but he's just told you that, I don't know, he's got a girlfriend or whatever. And so you've got to say these words, these Shakespearean words, and just completely just say yes and accept that context and put those words in that context. And then instantly they know if you've learnt it within that way. Right. And so it's a way of learning it that is, you actually have to know when to put it down for a bit and just go, no, I'm learning it in this particular way. I'm getting so there's actually a moment in which you could do too much or in too much repetition in one way. Yeah. It's being able to go, no. And so that's why the earlier you learn it, the better, because then you can have more time to then leave it, go, and then come back and then actually work it in many, many different ways. Wow. So there's many different techniques, and every actor's techniques are very different. Like one of our beautiful friends, Joel Edgerton, he's doing very well, an amazing actor, Australian actor. He actually doesn't, he told me, learn his lines that well. He works better if he has an idea of what they are. Yeah. And then he organically then is able to find them better. Yeah. But that kind of anxiety doesn't sit well with a lot of people. Yeah, I'll bet it doesn't. Yeah, especially when there's a camera in front. Yes. So that then doesn't work for some others. So it's finding your thing. But for me, repeating it in the same way did not help me, because then the changing of it and being able to just take the words and put it into any context, into anything that was organic in that moment, was then hard. So, yeah.
Wow. So I guess that's putting you into a state of knowing it almost unconsciously. Like you're not even consciously thinking about it. It's like driving. You feel like you get so confident. You're not even concentrating. You're just flicking and you're thinking about completely other things. I suppose that's why they put you in those different scenarios, to make sure you know this. Literally, you can be doing something completely differently and it's just coming to you. It's amazing. That's a lot of learning, lots of hours. I've always thought that takes an incredible amount of intelligence. It really does. And that intelligence may not come out in an exam or an oral presentation, but knowing that just the capacity to learn so many lines is unbelievable. I think I'd take the more Joel Edgerton approach, where I'd just kind of wing it a bit more and react a bit more.
Andy, you and majority of some of the most phenomenal boys that I have in drama definitely do take that approach, but I'm slowly getting them to.
They're far more talented than I. Let's not compare myself. Well, that's the end of part A with Miss Wright. In part B, we talk about her favourite Australian actor of all time, and we talk about our 2026 musical, Crazy for You.